two quarterbacks that are so polar opposite?
It's hard because you have to split your time. You have to split your time and your players. You have a new staff coming in, so you don't know what they're going to do offensively. You don't have any last year's film to watch to say this is what they're going to do throwing. So you're trying to get film from all over the country. You're trying to find offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, special teams coordinators, Northern Illinois, NC State, to watch their personnel. You just have a lot of different things, which makes a lot of unknowns, and that's probably what I keep talking about, is just some of the unknowns that you have getting into this game. So you have to split your time. You have to split your time, and you have to take all those pieces of film and try and assimilate what they're going to do if they're a passing team and what they're going to do if they're a running team. And so right now it just makes it hard defensively because you can't put all your time into putting together one game plan. I think in the opening game you always have to be careful because the opening game normally comes down to the team that makes the fewest number of mistakes. The team that has a solid kicking game, doesn't give up the big play, doesn't turn the ball over, tackles well, I think is what the first game normally comes down to. And so you got to be careful because you don't want to make too many mistakes, you don't want to be too complicated, you don't want to put too much in. So I think you have to have a very simple approach for both game plans, predicated on which quarterback's going to be in the game.
What does this game mean to you, just from the build-up, from coming here, working hard in spring practice, working hard in the fall, in terms of winning your first game is getting off to a good start?
I think I'm more concerned about how we respond to the first game than I am what happens in the first game. I mean, we've talked about some of the goals that we have here is in winning championships, and obviously you want to go into this game and you're going to compete, you want to find a way to win it. But in the opening game of the season, if we were to win this game and lose the rest, I wouldn't say that this was a pivotal game in the season. Just like if you were to lose it and win the rest, I think it's going to be more what we learn from this. They say that the progress you make from game 1 to game 2 is normally the biggest jump you're going to make as a football team. And so for me, I'm excited to go watch this team play. I'm excited to see a lot of the underclassmen or players that have not played a lot get out on the field, and I'm excited to see them compete. I'm excited to watch this team play. I have talked all camp about their attitude, their togetherness, and how hard they've been working, and I'm just really excited to watch them go get on the field and play. I think they'll play with passion and energy and excitement and enthusiasm, and I'm excited to be part of it.
Coach, what's it mean for your inexperienced offensive line to be going against such a great defensive line? And then in game 1, they're also playing good defense.
Well, a great challenge. You know, as I continue to say, for our defensive line, that is our strength, that's returning on the defensive side of the ball. I think it's going to be a great challenge for them to go against an offensive line like NC State's, to go against two tackles like they have, whether it's the athletic quarterback or the throwing quarterback. I think all this is going to be a great learning curve for us. And how it's going to play out, I think you have two new head coaches that are a lot of unknowns in this game, a lot of new guys that are going to be playing in this game on both sides of the ball. But I think for us right now, it's all about just putting our best foot forward and putting the best team out there that we can on Saturday and kind of see where we are. It'll be a great evaluation tool for us, but it will also be really a great learning experience for us. The evaluation tools coaches, the learning experience for our players because of the talent, the level of player that we're going against them on an every down basis when we go there.
You said no maturity pill, obviously, but for Scotty in particular, a guy,
yep.
No collegiate snaps, but you talked about a lot of scrimmage reps. What else can you do to prepare as much as you can for
the thing that's an advantage, I mean, like you've got a guy like Scotty who has zero experience in the college game, but he's a redshirt junior. He's been around the college game. He's had a lot of scrimmage reps. And then on the other side, you look at a guy like Xavier Woods that was playing high school football a year ago. I mean, so you look at it, those two levels of inexperience are different. One is probably inexperience and maturity, and Scotty has been around the game. And I think all you can do is put them in a lot of game-like situations and try and go good on good as much as you can. And I think that has helped our football team improve this camp.
What are some of the memories that you've learned from your other first games at schools in terms of preparation, in terms of the game itself?
The things I talked about, normally the team that makes the fewest number of mistakes is the team that's going to win. I think opening games are lost more than they're won.
Well, I meant your opening game, your first game as head coach, and other stops you've had at East Carolina.
Well, I think it goes back to what kind of experience do you have coming back. I mean, when you talk about a first-year head football coach, You go back to my first game in Connecticut, or my first game at East Carolina, or first game at South Florida. I think it's more the experience of your team. I think you've got 9 months to try and put your team together. And, there's question marks and some unknowns and some guys that haven't played. But I think as a football coach, you've just got to make sure that opening game you're as simple as you can be to give your players an opportunity to go out there on the field and play and not be robotical because they're paralysis through analysis, where they're thinking so much and trying to get lined up and that guy's there. And on top of it, to look at it, they're going to be going at a fast pace. So our defense is really going to have to digest a lot of information in a hurry.
You talked about the disadvantage you are facing a first-year head coach, but talk about the advantage of you being a first-year head coach and them not having the tape either.
And that's where I think both teams are in the same boat. Because right now they're pulling South Florida film, Marshall film, Louisiana Tech film. They're doing the same thing on us. And that's when I said there's a lot of unknowns in this first game, there's a lot of unknowns on both sides of this first game. And I think it comes down to, if this is not about trying to be perfect and trying to guess what they're going to do, this is trying to make sure that you're as solid as you can be with your football team. This isn't going to be a big scheme game, and we're going to do this to what they're doing with that, because you don't know what they're going to do. So I think you're going to see probably both teams that are going to be very vanilla at the beginning, kind of feeling each other out, kind of like a heavyweight fight. You're going to see a lot of adjustments being made and teams feeling more and more comfortable with what they're doing and what they're going to try and plug in from a game plan standpoint. But this is not one you go in with a call sheet and say, okay, we're going to do all these things to attack them, because you don't know what you're going to get. Both teams are in the same boat.
Given that fact, you really don't know what's coming. How important will halftime adjustments be to this game?
I think they'll be really important. I think it's going to be, and not only important for the adjustments that are being made, but how your players are going to handle them with 2 first-year head coaches, because we don't have players that have been in our systems for 3 and 4 years that can go back and go, yeah, I remember when we did that last year, we turned that, and we came in here, and we did this or did that. You're not going to have a lot of that. So I think it's going to be adjustments and how simple that you can make them, that your players can go out and execute them in the second half.
The unknowns apply to the quarterbacks, right? Because not only are you preparing for unknown, but they're preparing for Scotty. They have to go back to his high school tape or something
Right.
to try to...
Well, and we're going to put Tevin King at quarterback in our Wildcat. Now they have 2 quarterbacks to prepare for.
But does that kind of level in a sense of that too? Because both are unknown.
It does. I think the difference about Scotty, we're dealing with one quarterback who, if you know what the quarterback's capabilities are, strengths and weaknesses, then you have a little bit better idea of how to prepare for it. That's probably, the challenge that we have is not knowing which style of quarterback we're going to play against. That's why I threw out that little tidbit about Tevin King being a Wildcat quarterback. Just now they have to prepare for 2. But there are unknowns on both sides, and how are their quarterbacks going to perform in the first time, and theirs, how are ours going to perform? And I feel really good about the progress Scotty has made and the decisions that Scotty has made and what he's been doing. So I'm excited to watch him play. I just hope that he'll go out and play like he has in the practices and the scrimmages, that we don't make it bigger than it is, that we keep the focus on what's going on between the lines and not the circus that surrounds the game. When you get into the crowd and the cameras and the atmosphere, if we just can maintain our focus, because that's probably the biggest thing with inexperienced players that you see, they get sidetracked to what's going on the perimeter rather than staying focused with what's going on between the lines.
With it being his first start, you kind of want to ease him into things and just not throw too much at him to begin with?
We will, just as I said, because we don't know what we're going to get from them. Are they going to be a pressure defense? Are they going to be a zone defense? That's why I think both sides, offensively and defensively, are going to be feeling each other out a little bit for the first quarter of this game to see what they can do and what we're trying to attack, because it's when you don't know. And I think there's a lot of people around the country that are in these first games. That's why you see first games don't always go the way that everybody wants them to. There's a lot of unknowns in the first game.
Do you think this can be a statement game for your defense, given what happened last season? I know you guys pushed that in the past. But
Yeah, we want to see improvement, without a doubt. And I think they want to see improvement. I think it's a very proud group, and we talked about that defensive line. and the leadership that they've given, and I think they want to be better, they want to be good, and this will be, as I said, a great challenge for us for the team that we're going up and playing against. It's a very talented team, and maybe one of the more talented teams that we're going to have an opportunity to play, especially when you look at their measurables, their height, their weight, their size, their speed, and their athleticism, those type of things. So I think it'll be a great challenge for our defense, and I think there's no doubt we're going to learn an awful lot about not only our football team, but we're going to learn a lot about our defense and how much progress we've made.
Coach, how often whenever you're facing a 4-3 defense and you're a spread team, do they switch into a 4-2-5? No, they're based a 4-3.
Well, I think when you look at their linebackers, just with their heights and weights and athleticism, it's not like they're 250-pound linebackers that are just 4-2 linebackers. When you look at them across the board, you made the statement they're long and lean. They're 6'3", 220, where they have the ability to bump out into a 4-2 nickel, where one of those players can go out and play the slot, but they can also bring them in and roll the safety down and play a 4-3 defense. So I think the two of them are interchangeable. We've had the opportunity to see both looks a little bit so far during camp. So I don't know that the looks are going to be just alarming as much as what they try and do out of them. But I think we'll get both a 4-2 look and a 4-3 predicated on what formations we give to them as an offense.
You said teams are going to fill each other out, so what can you do this week to minimize the mistakes that happen in the first game of the season?
Just continue to harp on many of the things that we've been harping on during camp. Not turning the ball over, lost yardage plays as an offense, missed assignments where you're turning people free into your backfield. You got to eliminate the lost yardage plays so you don't put yourself behind the chains as an offensive football team. And I think if you can minimize your lost yardage plays and your turnovers, then you're giving yourself an opportunity to be in the football game. And then the same thing defensively, we got to make sure we keep the ball in front of us. We're going to be challenged on the corner. They're going to throw some balls up to a big receiver who's had some success going to get jump balls. And so we're going to be challenged there. We've got to keep the ball in front of us and try not to give up the big play. And you know what, if a negative play happens, how quickly can you erase it, forget about it, and go on to the next play? As we say all the time, we just can't allow one of these plays in the game to beat us twice. That play's over, go on to the next one, have a short memory, and let's keep playing hard. And then at the end of the game, we'll find out how it all settles out. But I think as coaches, all you can do is try and continue to emphasize with your team the things that we're looking for and what we're trying to do. And those are the things we've been trying to emphasize in our scrimmages and in our team periods every single day, eliminating the missed assignments, the lost yardage plays, the turnovers.
A couple of true freshmen starting on the depth chart, Xavier Woods, Logan Pearson, and Hunter. Just starting a true freshman in the first game, what are some of the obvious talents that they're doing?
Well, that goes back to what we talked about. It's a combination of maturity and inexperience. But I think that expression, if the dog's going to bite you, he'll do it as a pup. We're going to learn a lot about these freshmen going out in this type of atmosphere right out of the chutes in the very opening game. And then when you look at it, there's 4 true freshmen that have an opportunity to play. Xavier Woods and Trent Taylor are 2 that will definitely play. Logan McPherson will definitely handle the punting duties. And then right now, Kyle Fisher and Jonathan Barnes are in the competition for the kicking position. So I think you have 4 true freshmen that have an opportunity to play in this game, but I think they're 4 talented freshmen that I feel like their mental makeup, I think they're going to be fine in a game like this. I've really been impressed with the way they've handled it. And when you look at playing a freshman, it's not only talent, but it's their opportunity to get on the field, and it's also their mental makeup. Can they handle it? Are they ready to handle that arena and that atmosphere? And I feel really comfortable right now with those 3, but it's going to be, I'm excited to watch them. There's a lot of unknowns, but I'm going to learn as much about this football team on Saturday as y'all are.
Has Eddie Johnson begun practicing with you guys again?
He did. He started. He went lightly last night, and then we'll get a better idea with him on Tuesday. But right now, I think both him and Terrell Penson are probable.